2006. A time where the Fairly Odd Parents and Jimmy Neutron collided on Nickelodeon, and Miley Cyrus would shake the foundation of pop culture with the premiere of Hannah Montana on Disney Channel. I was introduced to an essential creation in the Dragon Ball franchise, the Budokai Tenkaichi series. This series will go on to create core memories for Dragon Ball fans around the world. In 3 consecutive years, we will be spoiled with the creativity from the minds behind Spike, now known as Spike Chunsoft, and will have the times of our lives. This is how the Budokai Tenkaichi series impacted me. So to start, Budokai Tenkaichi 1. Now to be honest, I have no recollection of seeing any commercials for this game, no advertisements or nothing. Y'all gotta remember that this was still technically the middle stages of the growing internet, where even YouTube was low key. So yeah, I didn't see much. The way I acquired this game is also a bit hazy. I just remember seeing it in the gaming store and I just asked my dad for it. We get back home and I turn on my PS2 and I'm greeted with the new colorful artistic style of the main menu and what I believe is the main track of Budokai Tenkaichi 1. Yeah, BT1 reuses the same soundtrack as Budokai 2 in parts of 3, but that was okay because I hopped in one match and was captivated by how we could freely move our characters around and fly up and down instead of being locked in the forward and back move of the Budokai series. The combat was new, with one button being used for all attacks at the time. I really didn't mind it, but nowadays, that's really been a huge issue and a concern for modern anime games using one button for combat, which leads to a lot of players spamming online and just having no skill overall. Looking back, the movement was actually quite slow compared to BT1 and 3, but it was new, it was different. However, the animations were a bit comical, almost as if the game wasn't ready or even programmed for the PlayStation 2, if that makes sense. Matter of fact, going back to get footage for this game, everything just moves in slow motion, from the menus to the transitions, cutscenes, and at the time, we really didn't notice because we didn't have anything to compare it to besides Budokai 3. Everything was just slow in this game, and when it was time for battle, it would only last for like maybe 5 minutes. I think it was even worse than Budokai 1 levels of health. This new series also introduced a new lock-on mechanic. At first it didn't make sense. Why would you need to manually lock on to the only person you're fighting? But as I said, this is a new movement system where you can basically free roam to an extent. First off, they start you and your opponent far away from each other across the map, just to be able to use a new searching lock-on mechanic. I don't know why they thought this was a good idea, but I get it. It was new. They were trying something out. I also didn't understand the camera angles in this game. They purposely put the camera angle right behind your character, like right in their butt crack. Like, dog, this is not what I'm trying to see. Who am I supposed to be fighting right now? I can't. Now you had your usual Dragon Ball game modes and menus in Budokai Tenkaichi 1. World Tournament, Practice, Skill Shop, One of the things I remember most about this game was the difficulty. I can't say my memories are strong with this game, but I 100% remember every single fight in the story mode being insanely hard. I got through the Budokai story mode in Dragon Ball Z Sagas with the breeze, so I was just any different. I remember the only way I can get through this game was to do the same spammy move over and over again. I will show you right now. Alright, this is what I would do, y'all. Hold up, as soon as I can get close to him. Alright, okay, so we're gonna keep spamming. This is what I would do every single time, ever since I was younger. Oh, sometimes it'll work. This right here. Back and forth. Over and over again. I don't care how long it took. I will keep doing this until his health dropped. And it worked. It got me every single character I unlocked over and over again. Could you imagine? All because this game was just so hard. So yeah, it turned out that I wasn't the only one who had trouble with the story mode. Other people are saying that it was extremely hard, so that makes me feel better knowing that I was in fact not garbage at this game. Another key addition to the Budokai Tenkaichi series were the never before seen giant characters. Now, as I said, I don't recall seeing any advertising for this game, so you can imagine my surprise when I'm playing the story mode and I get to the Piccolo training Gohan section, and suddenly, somehow, this boy is a freaking great ape. Without warning, this will be the second time in my life where I turn on my PS2 while playing a non-horror game. If you remember the Budokai 3 incident, which also included Kid Gohan. Max Payne is another, but y'all gotta understand that that game did have its horror elements. But anyways, eventually, I grew the strength to get past the mission and defeat the great ape using my spammy combo I practiced. The roster was a decent collection from all eras of Dragon Ball at the time. Of course, the usual in Dragon Ball Z. We got a few GT characters with a few from Dragon Ball, including Kid Goku. Oh, and by the way, this game only had 2 giant characters, I believe, which is like Great Ape and Great Ape Vegeta. Also, I forgot to mention that there was one slight peeve in the original BT1. You could not transform. I don't know if it's intentional or if it's because the game was rushed, but not having transformation in a Dragon Ball game is a crime. Yes, I'm talking about you, Battle Z and Fighters, but that was okay because Spike was cooking up their next project. In 2008, my birthday was coming up. Y'all gotta understand, growing up, my family wasn't rich, but we weren't poor. I was raised in a be grateful and thankful type environment. So around birthdays and holidays were the rare occurrences when my parents would actually get us anything we desired. For my 9th birthday, of course, I only wanted one thing. After seeing hours of gameplay online and the inclusion of team battles, all I wanted was the next installment of the Budokai Tenkaichi series with BT2. Now, around this time, there were a couple Dragon Ball games that had already released at the time, like BT3 and Burst Limit. However, since I, and apparently lots of other people as well, were using the previous gen, PlayStation 2 at the time, and Dragon Ball Z Infinite World wouldn't release for like 2 more months, so I decided to just continue my Budokai Tenkaichi route. So when I got home, of course, I booted up this masterpiece and was greeted with the brand new soundtrack, a signature opening. And a refreshed title screen. It was time to continue the journey. Budokai Tenkaichi 2 was pretty much played like the original game, but with a few tweaks, and we got more characters, team battles, and arguably the best story mode in Dragon Ball gaming history. And guess what? Transformation. Yes, Spike have redeemed themselves. All of my criticisms from the original game, they were fixed. I could actually play the story mode like it was meant to be played and not have to spam the same move over and over again. Since this game featured team battles, that means we could finally do fusions again. And one of my favorite things about the Budokai Tenkaichi series are that the fusions actually last the entire match. Yes, the concept was cool in the Budokai series with how the fusions had a limit, but it did get annoying after a while, especially with the Batara earrings. One wrong button and your opponent would literally crush it, then you'd be screwed pretty much the entire match. Overall, the game was pretty fun, especially with team battles. They made the matches last even longer than the previous games, and it was set up for some pretty cool fights like Sea Fighters versus movie villains or whatever. The game gave us an updated roster, especially when it came to GT characters. Boo debuted along with Pan and even more giant characters like Grade 8 Baby Vegeta and First Form Janemba. One of the coolest parts about the Tenkaichi 2 were the new transformations for characters that didn't even have transformations to begin with, like Grade 8 Raditz and Nappa. The roster was cooking up something great, but we weren't completely all there, not just yet. All aside from Ultimate Tenkaichi and Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, this is one of the most in-depth story modes in Dragon Ball Z history, easily piecing together what happened since the beginning of the Saiyan saga. And it was actually pretty easy to do this time. In Budokai 3, there were only a few characters that had a Dragon universe. In this mode, even more characters get their chance to shine in each scenario. They also brought back the Dragon World map from Budokai 3, except expanded in more detail. It was also pretty cool to be able to fly around with more than just one character, and even walk around and interact at some of the places that you visited. There was a pretty interesting portion of the story mode, with the first time ever What If saga. Never before seen on the spot stories that were so interesting because you never knew what was going to happen next. Like the story where Raditz had a head injury and completely forgot the whole purpose of coming to Earth in the first place. Just so many cool scenarios. Budokai Tenkaichi 2 definitely deserves its flowers. It kept me entertained for a decent 6 months. No online multiplayer, just hundreds of battle scenarios made up of my adventurous little mind. But after a while, it was time for change. There was a want that just wasn't quite there yet. As I've said, Spike had already redeemed themselves. What else could they perfect now? It was time. Time for the third and most legendary installment in video game history. Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know who was in the kitchen during the development of this game, but they were cooking. They actually did everything right. All hits, no misses. They even had various characters saying the game titles this time. From the introduction to the Buu Saga characters, just everything about this game screams premium. Now we finally get to the key ingredient of BT3, the roster. Any character you could think of from all eras and sagas, they included. Kid Chi-Chi, yes. Kid Chi-Chi, I'm not even gonna lie, she was
the biggest piece of dog
thought is what it counts. My favorite part was how they categorized a few characters. Let's start with Goku. Goku early from the end of Dragon Ball to the Saiyan saga. Goku mid after his training en route to planet Namek. Goku in from the end of the Cell Saga to the Return and Buu Saga. And we have not one, but two Kid Gokus, both with transformations, and they actually did it right this time. Goku GT was introduced, and he was a one-turner Super Saiyan 4 this time. So many characters, man. Even Bobby, like, what is bro doing here?
Boy, if you don't.
In addition to the characters, they even got the costumes right. Some of my favorites were the Vegeta on Arlia one, Teen Gohan Bojack movie attire, and even the Videl shirt after the Spopovich beatdown. There were so many cool attires and references that I easily missed, so I might actually cook up a video breaking them all down soon. Along with just regular outfits, the battle damage outfits were just so cool. So many custom fits from key moments in the show, especially with Goku, shout out Goku GT. There was so much customization in Budokai Tenkaichi. Instead of the generic stages, we finally had the option to choose the time of day for most stages. It was just so cool. They went the extra mile and adding Easter eggs like the grade 8 transformations. When a Saiyan sees a full moon on a night stage, it's just, that was pretty cool, dude. Even at the World Tournament in the evening, that's where Goku transformed in the original 21st World Martial Arts Tournament. And I like that little detail. Now, combat-wise, they did it again. The combat has been refurbished and it feels even cooler to fight now. The movement is super fast-paced, especially coming from BT1. It feels like we're actually doing battles straight out the show. If you see my Sparking Meteor playthrough, then you can see how most of it is just muscle memory from my time, playing on the PlayStation 2 and Wii. One of my favorite moves to do is that super fast dodgy thing or whatever. It just looks so smooth and clean. The animations finally didn't have that blue background in the back anymore. The game finally felt like it was programmed for a PlayStation 2. Now, the story mode for BT3 was pretty solid. Pretty much the same old run through with newer scenarios of the What If sagas. They also added the new action button in place for transformations for certain moments during battles. Whether you press the action button or not will determine an alteration in the timeline. For example, I know during a battle with Majin Buu, if you don't press the action button and defeat Majin Buu, Body will actually show up in his place. I also like how during some battles they actually made the villains OP and gave you control of the villain, and then you go on a whole slaying spree, which was fun. Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 was so amazing that so many video games try to live up to its standards to this day. Imagine a video game where all your prayers were answered, no microtransaction if you were on PS2 and no online play was needed to have fun. Just so many memories and scenarios to create in that game. That's why it will forever be an all-time classic in my top 10 video games of all time. The Budokai Tenkaichi series was simply an experiment gone right. They tried to break into the HD era with the creation of Raging Blast, but it just didn't work out. I don't know what happened. It felt like they were going in the right direction, but the Budokai Tenkaichi series just can't be replicated. Or can it? We finally here, ladies and gentlemen, over a decade of wishing and praying, we finally had the announcement of the next Sparking game coming. It felt like a dream come true, one of the most beloved games of the PlayStation 2 era. Go ask anyone right now, Dragon Ball fan or not, and I guarantee you they have played or at least heard of this masterpiece. The most beloved video game coming back with modern graphics and technology. They just simply need to do what they did the original trilogy. Just keep on adding on, don't take anything away. I know that we're in a modern era of gaming, so BT4 will no doubt be played with microtransactions. No more earning characters through Easter eggs and actual effort, when they can just be bought with a season pass. I hope I'm wrong, but as I said, this is the state of modern gaming. So yeah, the Budokai Tenkaichi series will forever be a key example of Dragon Ball and gaming gone right. A time where everyone who had this game had the most amazing memories, including myself. A time where I spent days gaming, going to school, and repeat. Life was simple. I truly hope we can bring back these memories of BT4. A time to put a Dragon Ball game in the Game of the Year category. A long shot, but you never know. But anyways, thank you all for watching me express my thoughts on one of the greatest gaming series of all time. A place where I had nothing but peaceful and positive memories. Games I still enjoy to this day. If you enjoyed it, please like and share with people who also enjoyed these games growing up. I would genuinely appreciate it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how the Budokai Tenkaichi series impacted me. Thank you for watching. Take care. Till we meet again.